Okay, so let's start with the Las Vegas Sphere. This cost $2.3 billion to build. It's the largest screen on Earth. It seats 17,600 people inside, and it's a new form of entertainment and advertising. You can see inside there some amazing shots of what it looks like, and you can have brand new experiences, brand new productions, brand new entertainment experiences within the Las Vegas Sphere. Let's get your takes, your opinions on this. We'll go left to right. Paolo, what's your opinion, your thoughts when you see this new technology?
I mean, that's funny because in France we have what we call la Géode, la Cité des Sciences.
Okay.
And it's also like a big sphere, right? And you go inside and you have this immersive experience. And I thought when I was a kid it was already amazing, right? But when I see this now with like the screens and 1 million screens, like to make a huge one, all the sound, all the tech that is inside I think it's just amazing. Like I want to try, basically.
I definitely do as well, mate.
So I think like obviously the downside of it, like we're talking about climate change and ecology. So it could be like, but they have plans to reduce or at least power the entire sphere on only renewable energy. But again, like we'll see how. I think they say like 2026 or 7, something like that. But yeah, it's just an amazing technology, something to definitely to try.
That's cool that you've tried something similar in France. Maybe not on that scale, but my version of that is like an IMAX cinema or something, which is not quite as good, right? But what was your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, when I thought about that, first I thought about the IMAX, which is, I mean, it was amazing when I tried. I think probably the first time in the 90s, I think in New York.
Sure.
And then, but then I started thinking back, and I was remembering this like when I was a child, like many decades ago, like this thing with, for the name now of this thing, like planetarium. I don't know if it's called like this.
Yeah.
In Buenos Aires, that they had these projections on the ceiling, basically. So it was a whole
the space
thing.
one.
Yeah, so basically everything, all the universe, and it was
Yeah.
amazing. I had this fascination with this thing, and I mean, so I think I would love to try this again. I mean, and see if I get fascinated, this fascination again with this technology. Obviously, it's impressive because they have all these things with smell as well, and wind and temperature. I'm curious about to see how they solve those problems, right? Because at that scale, like solving the problem of how you distribute smell or heat or how the sound, it supposedly sounds exactly the same everywhere. I mean, it's a very difficult thing to achieve. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, I think this mentioned that they were going to build it in London as well.
Well, they talked about it.
Yeah, so I don't need to travel to Las Vegas. So I'm waiting for that one.
I needed to come here. Yeah, I don't want to go to them. But I heard that they were going to do it here at the same time as the Vegas one. Whereas Vegas is built, like London hasn't even started construction yet. Yeah. So, it might be a few years until we're getting this. And I think it will be a smaller scale version as well. This one was like 2 billion or something. The UK one was going to be like 700-800 million, so maybe like
tennis ball sized, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly, like the UK version of it. But what was your view when you saw that clip and that new technology? What was your reaction?
So it made me think that the gig going experience hasn't changed for a long time. It's pretty much like you know when your parents, let's say, went to a gig, it was pretty much the same thing. Starts at 8, finishes at like 11 or 12, and it's still the same. People playing in front of an audience there. So what's great is, like in quite a few industries, we've actually upgraded the experience itself. It's actually something fundamentally different. And so I think there's a sense of, really playing around with the concept. If entertainment is all about immersion and escapism, it's hard to see how it can be better than something like that, let's say.
Yeah, no, it really goes like a lot deeper, doesn't it, than just watching a movie. Like you mentioned, smells and sensors, and I can't remember exactly how many, but there were so many speakers in that thing, like built into the chairs, built everywhere around you to give you that full spatial audio and surround sound. So this is a concept, guys. Like this is like a brand new idea in theory. It builds on and it stands on the shoulders of the technologies which you mentioned about a second ago, just from concert gigs to the observatory to what you saw in France and so on. But what do you think about this being replicated around the world, like globally? Like if we had to make predictions like 5 years from now, do you think this will be just the Vegas thing, it will just remain there? Or do you think we'll see one in London, we'll see one in New York, we'll see one in Paris, we'll see one in Tokyo? If you had to predict yes or no, let's work backwards. What would you say?
So I'd say to me, it's the concert going equivalent of the Concorde. Really nice idea, but there's a lot of practical things that means it only works in a certain place and for a certain time as well. So yes, they might build one in London, but good luck getting planning permission for what is a massive giant ball in the middle of a city. I mean, so yeah, it's conservation area. I think that would struggle to pass.
Yeah. What would your take be?
Yeah, I think Stratford, they want to build it, and there's like all this discussion about like they could use that space for building houses, and because there are so many restrictions. So yes, as you say, it's very difficult. I guess also, I mean, when you think about the numbers, it's like $2.3 billion, right, to build that thing. I guess that includes the technologies that they developed and all the initial effort to make that, and later on it's going to be much cheaper to replicate that. So I guess it's going to be like the IMAX. The IMAX, in a way, I think it started probably in a couple of places, and then it's not like it's in every corner anyway, right? But but probably there's space. Probably, as you said, like some places it's not going to be like cinemas. I don't think so. But yeah, also this idea of $2.3 billion spent on this, sounds like crazy in terms of when you think about like as a civilization, we are like spending like how we allocate capital and effort and time and technology and minds.
It's a lot of money, man, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long it will take them to recoup those costs, if ever. But I mean, 17,000 people, if it's always full and it's Vegas prices, you know, they can probably make a lot of money from it. But doing that in like you said, like Stratford or something, it's a different scale, isn't it?
And to put you two on, such a waste of potential as well.
Yeah. What would your take be in terms of the success or failure of this concept? Do you see it taking off, or do you see it staying kind of smaller?
I think I wanted exactly to say what you said. It's a business, right?
Yeah.
So they invested 2.3 billion. At which point they will be like profitable, and can they replicate that across everywhere? And yeah, like maybe on smaller scales. I can see like that happening in smaller scales, or taking the concept and then moving it somewhere else. Like having ideas, for instance, for VR or AR, and can you do the same, but more portable, more like at home, right? So obviously it's not the same scale, and it's like cinema, right? You go to the cinema, you have a massive screen. Like it's hard to get that at home unless you have a villa and you are very rich. But yeah, on smaller scales, more spheres, or like embedded in homes, and more like individual experiences.
The VR mention is very interesting, because I showed this to my wife, and she goes, "Oh, it's like public VR," and it kind of is. It's like VR, but without the screen here. It's just out there.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. But,
Yes. Yeah.
I think what'll be interesting as an angle is deconstructing it, because it's not really just one innovation having public VR all around. There's this sense of a couple of other things that make the experience more immersive. I can see those technologies making their way to concert hall, gigs, etc. in the future.
I think that it's going to depend a lot as well in how you use the media, right? Because one thing is like you have the technological capabilities to do like incredible things, but then you have to see how creators use that technology to actually create something that is engaging and that is using things in the right way, right? It's like basically you need to be able to use all those for the devices of wind, temperature, smell, like all these things, and put it together in a way that is like really conveying something, right? It's like, so it's all about how you get the content creators to use that technology. We have to see.
I think this will work really well with like residencies in Vegas, because if someone's booked it out for like, I don't know, 6 months or something, then they can copy and paste that setup, or the wind or the effects. If it's just for like 1 or 2 shows, that's a lot of effort to do that. So I think this will be like a long-term thing. Like U2 will have it for 6 months, and then David Copperfield or something, and it will kind of change hands. But yeah, interesting point of view.